You wake up one morning, seemingly living the perfect life. And at one point during that day, a very dark shadow crosses your path, and tragedy enters. Tragedy is swift, it's punishing, and it's ugly. How you come out the other side, how you conduct yourself in the future will ultimately dictate who you will be. You make a conscious choice at a given point in time to either live a life filled with anger, bitterness, and hate, or one that's filled with love, positivity, and passion. My journey begins August the 26th, 2001. My husband, my best friend, my business partner, and the man that I spent 24 hours a day with, 7 days a week, was felled with a catastrophic illness, which came from an underlying cancer which had been misdiagnosed not once, but twice in the previous 2 months. About 48 hours into the process, I was in the ICU and a doctor came up to me, the lady who was in charge of his case, and she said to me the following. She said, "Mrs. Adler, your husband isn't going to make it. He's not going to live more than a couple of days, and you shouldn't waste your time because we're not going to waste our resources." I don't know how I was able to stay calm, but I took my fingers and I made the littlest space I could where light could shine through, and I said to her, "If that's the amount of space that's open to me in that doorway of your hospital, I'm going to take my husband through it, and you're not going to tell me when he's going to die. You do not have the power to do that." 2 weeks later, September the 11th, 2001, I was sleeping at the hospital, and I'll never forget that day. And the surgeon who had been struggling every day to save my husband's life came to me and he said, "We can't save his leg, Joey. We're going to have to amputate." And so I picked up the phone to call my family and give him the bad news. And as I was telling them this, they started telling me what was going on in New York. And I put my head in my hand and I said to myself, my goodness, the helplessness I felt. And I realized at that moment that there was no value for human life in this world. And throughout the day, as I remembered and I watched the buildings come down, I promised myself that I would spend the rest of my day promoting the value of one human life. We got Lou out of the hospital. We got him on a prosthetic. We even put him on a motorcycle. And we spent the summer of 2002 sharing things that I cannot even describe. And we would never have done that had we not fought for him. Unfortunately, in October of 2002, he lost his second leg. And then in January, he passed away. That 17-month journey taught me so much. And it changed me profoundly. The first day after I returned to work, after Lou had died, was one of the darkest days of my life. Over and above the apprehension that I was feeling was this sense of being alone in a place that had always meant being together. And I had a lot of challenges as a woman. And that's normal. You know, the odds were a little bit stacked against me. One of the first important challenges I had was this irresolution on how to conduct myself. How to honor the legacy and the history of my late husband at the same time as I was trying to imprint my style on an organization where he had been larger than life. This is not unique to me. This is happening every day, I think. Along with that was this concept of management and leadership. People will tell you that management and leadership are the same thing. They're not. They're not at all the same thing. Management is implementing someone else's vision. Leadership is implementing your own vision, your own set of values, your own style on an organization. That made me understand that I had to be me. I had to be authentic to who I was. Women trying to emulate men in business is a very big occurrence, and it is a very big mistake. We need to be who we are. Emulating means splitting yourself in two. It means being a different person at home than you are at the office. And it causes all sorts of stress that we don't need. The other thing we do, I think, when we're emulating, is we have a tendency to compromise, to assuage, to make things better. Don't. At the same time as all this was going on, I felt like I was constantly being asked to prove myself, whether it be in philanthropy, and I realized that as women, we have more responsibility than men. And we take on more responsibility than men. And so I said to myself, what can I do in my own organization to alleviate the stress of people in general? How can I apply this concept of humanization, right? Well, first and foremost, I wanted to build a movement. I wanted to build a movement around the power of one. I wanted to spend my life talking about how precious every life is and how much power we have as an individual to impact the life of another human being. And I wanted that movement to be fueled with the passion of humanization. And I didn't want to compromise. I wanted to be in everything that I did. I've spent the last 10 years of my life promoting the value of one human life. And I've made mistakes. But I never forget that as an individual, we have the infinite power every day to make a difference and to impact the life of another human being. And a small random act of kindness can change someone's life, even in an elevator, to say hello. It can also change the world. So what did I do? I came up with 4 concepts in my organization, 4 words: love, compassion, understanding, and empowerment. And what did we do? We implemented things like flex time. Bring your children to work if you need be. Bring your animals to work, but don't bring your snakes. I mean, I draw the line at snakes. Team building, team giving back, a voice, education for those of us in our organization that wanted to continue. If humanization was my mission, then dignity had to be at the forefront, right? Nowhere was that more apparent to me than in the developing world. As I traveled to Africa and to Haiti, I realized that philanthropy, although wonderful for saving lives, was not really doing much in sustainability and dignity. And so I came up with this concept and said to myself, what would happen if we, entrepreneurs, young, women, gentlemen, would go to the developing world and would create business opportunities to put people to work, at the same time remembering to put back in an equal and fair way from where they took out, always putting people first. Our new social enterprise model is safe and environmentally friendly factories where people come first and where we reinvest part of our profits into the community and the workers. We do it without changing the business model, and we always put people first. Why did it take me so many years to get my idea? Here's the important lesson, ladies. 1, I'm in an industry that doesn't want to change. 2, as women, we are not always considered true entrepreneurs. True entrepreneurs change industries. We haven't gotten there yet, and we got to get there. And 3rd, men open doors for other men. And we women have 2 issues. 1, we don't know how to ask for help. And we're not so good at opening doors for each other, right? Let's see, let's shake that. Leaders empower people by surrounding themselves with those that are going to replace them. That's the mark of a true leader. A true leader brings better people than them around them and then empowers them to replace them. If humanization of business is the future, and we know that empowering women changes the world, then the formula is simple. We need to empower more women to take on more responsibility. And let's not think for a second, ladies and gentlemen, that the road is not still quite a distant. And don't think that the ceiling, as cracked as it is still not above our heads. We can no longer ask women to choose, to make a choice between family and career. We can no longer create environment where people are stressed. We must create environments for both men and women where family and people come first. This is what we have to do. As corporations, we need to be responsible for the world around us. It can be done. We did it in our organization, and we have a modicum of success, so I know that it works. We know now, and we complain all the time, that money is being more and more filtered in fewer and fewer hands. Do we hear all that every day? But that's okay, because the power is being disseminated across millions of people. And I believe power trumps money. And the social media platforms are allowing us to harness that power. Right? So, how are we going to harness the power? Very simply. Why don't we start looking at a concept that I call human corporate social responsibility? We talk about corporate social responsibility. What about human? What are corporations doing internally to create the environment for their teams to thrive? Real leaders empower their team members with a sense of responsibility and pride and ownership that comes from the knowledge that they are loved, embraced, and appreciated. So why can't we call out companies? So here's my call to action. Are we ready? 1, let's start looking at the corporations we buy from. Right? What is their human social responsibility? What are they doing internally to alleviate? How many women sit on their board of directors? More importantly, how many women sit on their first and second line management? Because that's where the real power of change comes, not at the board level. We have the power simply by making everyday choices to push the envelope and to make change. Second call to action, as we mentor, ladies and gentlemen, let's take the young people, both men and women, and let's connect the dots for them. Let's open our Rolodex. Let's take them by the hand and empower them to replace us. Empowering the younger generation is an incredibly satisfying thing. Third, ladies, communicate. The key to success is open, transparent dialogue. We must be able to tell our partners, both at home and at the office, exactly how we feel. We cannot hold things back. We cannot let things fester. It creates negativity and it creates a reduction of our value. So communicate. Fourth, and here's my big secret. Are you all ready? This is my secret. It took me 10 years to figure it out. Learn to live life. You take on too much responsibility as a woman. You have more responsibility than men, and you don't know how to say no. Correct? Learn to live life with passion and authenticity. Know that you belong at the table. Don't just think you belong at the table. Learn to be assertive when need be, and learn to be soft and gentle. Women are amazing, and the world is benefiting greatly from us taking on greater roles. Being a woman is wonderful. Being caring and nurturing is exactly what the world needs. So go forth. Take it on. Take on the journey. Enjoy yourself. It's our time. Right now, it's our time. But one more thing that I want to leave you with. Don't do to others what was done to us. Don't leave anybody behind. Embrace everyone around you, men and women. Do it one by one and with a whole lot of love. Thank you.